Hi guys, it's Jackie with Intoxicating Arts, and today I have the Simon Says Stamp July 2016 card kit. This is my first card kit and I'm super excited about it, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And I'm just going to open the box here. It's about a 9 by 12 inch box, probably about 3 inches thick. And all of the supplies comes in this little brown bag, and I've taken them out of there already just for the sake of recording. And you can see there's some paper in here, some inks, and definitely a stamp set. There's always a stamp set in there. And there's 2 pieces of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch watercolor cardstock, and there's a coarse side and a smooth side on that. And then a bunch of 6 by 6 papers. They're pattern papers, and they match the stamp set really, really well. And I'm just going to go through those really quick and show them to you. They're kind of watercolory, there's some splatters, and I think they're kind of more grown up than a lot of the papers that they've been coming out with lately that are kind of more cutesy and almost like a little on the kid side. So I really liked that they went with this kind of theme here. So that's what all the papers look like. And then there's 4 inks that was included in the set, and they match the papers really well, so they take all the guesswork out of that for you. The colors that are included are Thistle, Golden Locks, Slate, and Steel Blue. And I ended up using a lot of these. I really like the way they stamp, and there's a little sucker in there too. Here's the stamp set. It's called Handwritten Floral Greetings. And you get 4 different sentiments and then a bunch of flower images and leaves to build up your scene. And then this is the inspiration sheet. Comes with 6 different card ideas. These are 8 1/2 by 11 inch pieces of paper, and there's 2 white ones that I ended up using as card bases, and then a pink one, a yellow one, and a dark gray. And I'll be linking everything below. I don't know the specific color names for the papers, but I'll put a link below. Last time I checked, this kit was sold out, so hopefully they came out with more of them. They're $29.95 if you buy them alone, or $24.95 if you buy them on a recurring billing schedule. Also included in the kit was this awesome water brush, and it has this super fine tip on it, which I love because I already have a medium-sized water brush, and you just twist off the top and put some water in it and you are good to go. So I'm going to start off with the biggest flower image from the set, and I will be doing some watercolor embossing. Is that what it's called? It's like you emboss an image and then you watercolor in it. So I'm using Versamark here to ink up my stamp. It's a nice sticky ink, so it will take the embossing powder. And I'm going to put that in the upper left hand corner, and I'll also be stamping that in the bottom right hand corner. And I put the embossing powder on it and then realized that I had like a smudge right there, so I did forget to go and put the powder tool on it that gets rid of the static. So I'm just doing that right now. Wanted to show that to you just as a little reminder to do that. And then now I'll be stamping the other one in the bottom right hand corner, since I've already heated up my embossing powder on the top one. Just gonna dump that all over it because I have a piece of folded up paper that I can pour it into, and it will make it really nice and easy to get it back into that tiny little jar. Also, if you have leftover speckles, you can always pull out like a little brush and brush them off. So I'm still having to do that a little bit even with using that powder tool. And here is the leaf image from the set. I didn't have to do any masking for that one because it just kind of lined up nicely, but I will be doing some masking now. And for me, it's just a matter of inking up an image with black ink and then stamping it on a post-it note pad. I just try to get it as close to the adhesive as possible. These are kind of really temporary. They're not going to hold onto the paper for very long, And it's good because it's not going to damage your paper, where if you use something that's maybe a little too, has too much adhesive on it, then you could damage your paper. So a Post-it note definitely works just fine. And when you do that, just a little tip, make sure that you cut more towards the inside of the image rather than the outside of the image. If you go too far to the outside, you're actually going to end up getting like a ghost effect, or it will skip or leave like a blank area between the image that you're stamping and the one that you're masking. So just keep that in mind. And you'll see here in a moment that this one came out perfectly. It's a lot of fun to build up scenes on a card like this. It's definitely time consuming, but it is a lot of fun. And then I'm going to be using another image from that stamp set. This one is a solid image, so I won't be watercoloring it in, but it looks really nice with the silver embossing powder. A lot of times when people do this technique, they like to do just like a white or a clear. And I thought it would be fun to do a silver, and I really like how it came out doing that. You could totally do it with gold or whatever other metallic color you want to do, but I think that silver went well with the rest of the kit because there was a lot of gray in there as well. So I just showed you right there that I missed a little spot when I stamped the image, and there's a really easy way to fix that. It's actually with this embossing pen by Ink Essentials, and Versamark also has their own pen. So a lot of times you might wonder, like, what's the point of having that? This is the exact point of having it, for me at least, because if you mess up, you can just draw it in. You can also like handwrite with it and do other things, but that's really the main reason that I have one of those. So here's the part of the card that I kind of went in a weird direction. And if I were to do this again, I would stick with only stamping in the diagonal on the upper left hand corner and the bottom right hand corner. The reason I went over to the bottom left hand corner is I wanted more of those solid flower images, so I just sped forward there so you could see what I've done at this point. And then I thought it would be a great idea to stamp that big flower and make it look like it was in the background. Well, it ended up not being that great of an idea, and I ended up cutting off a lot of this. But I wanted to share that with you because, you know, when you're stamping, you kind of think, well, this might look good here or there, and they don't always come out 100%. So if I did it again, just do the diagonals, and I think it looks a lot better. So now I get to watercolor these in, and I'm going to be using the Prima water soluble oil pastels, and I really like these for watercoloring. They're nice, vibrant colors, and they're so easy to work with. And I'm going to start off by filling in the flower with just some clean water out of the water brush. And the awesome thing about embossing and then watercoloring over it is you give yourself a little well for the water to stay inside of. So it makes it super easy to watercolor. I'm starting off with the magenta color, and you can see here that I just put the tip of the water brush to the tip of the pastel and pull some color off and lay the color down. I will be starting off by just putting a base layer of this color all over the flower, and then I'll go back in and actually concentrate a little more color in the middle to make it a little darker in there. And this watercolor paper by Simon Says Stamp is really, really nice. It's like 140 pounds. It took a lot of water easily, and I brushed around on it quite a bit, and I didn't have any peeling problems whatsoever, so it is really nice, and I'm definitely a fan of it now that I've used it. So just going around the whole image and coloring that in. It's a lot of fun to do, and it does take quite a bit of time, but I think the result is totally worth it. And once I get that flower in the top left done, I move on to the bottom right. Got that one done. And then another way that you can color with these is actually direct to paper. And this works just as good because these are extremely soluble, so you do not end up with any harsh lines whatsoever. You can just lay the color down, not worry about it. It doesn't require a ton of water to move it around. So you'll see this is kind of like a blue-green, and I didn't really want that. So after I did this and washed it out with the water, I actually go back in with the cadmium green and make it a little bit more to the color that I was hoping for. So it's super easy. You can see how nicely that blends. I'm definitely a fan of these water-soluble oil pastels. So at this point, I've actually gone around all of the images with a really light gray. And I just did that because I thought it would look kind of cool if they kind of had like a shadow going around all of the images. And then I wanted it just a little bit darker, so I'm actually going back in and doing that a second time around all of the images. So a lot of people like to do this with like a bluish color. You can totally do that. I just thought that the gray would be nice because it would again be matching everything pretty well. And this is the point where I cut down the panel. So I just want to show you that I do cut it down. And it actually ended up working out perfect because I needed this to be cut down anyways because I wanted to have a piece of the really pretty pattern paper from the kit on my card base. And this was exactly 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it was way too big. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment with this really cute set from Simon Says Stamp. And it's actually 3 different stamps to build the sentiment. So it says happiest birthday wishes to you, and I'm using my little DIY stamping tool here, and it is coming in handy quite a bit because it's 3 different sentiments. I spent a lot of time on this card panel already, so the worst thing you can possibly do is have it done, go to stamp your sentiment and it smudges or it's just not like lined up very well. So I actually took the acetate from that stamp set and put it down so that I could get a test stamp out of it. So you can take that one step further. I mean, I lined it up, I thought it looked really good, but I really wanted to make sure that it was going to be perfect, and getting a test stamp out of it ensured that. So I stamped it, I was happy with it, and then I decided to use the steel blue color of hybrid ink that was included in the kit to stamp that down. And I was able to double stamp it because I have this little stamping tool here. I added some foam tape to the back of that panel so that I can pop it up just a little bit on this piece of cardstock that came in the kit. And this one's really cool. It looks like it has purple speckles all over it. And I cut that down, and I actually used the leftover piece from cutting it down on the inside of the card just to kind of tie everything together. I love how this card came out. I'm actually making a bunch of birthday cards using this kit. Even though the sentiments that came in it are awesome, I have a bunch of birthdays this next like month and a half, 2 months that I need to make cards for. So I've actually made 3 cards already, and I will be posting the other videos very soon. So I just love how this came out. I'm super happy with it, and I hope you guys will join me for my other cards very soon. Thank you so much. Bye guys.